I know. Is this getting repetitive? The income tax watch is still on. There are no plans on Governor Ferguson's schedule today to sign Senate Bill 6346, the millionaires tax. At least it's not on his calendar. State GOP Chairman Jim Walsh had a conversation with me today, basically sharing his speculation that the governor is delaying signing this to kind of eat up time that opponents could have for a citizen initiative to try and reverse the income tax. Now, if in fact that were to be launched this year, there's still a lot of unknown whether or not that's going to happen this year. Could also be some legal challenges coming as opponents contend that the income tax is unconstitutional. Income tax bill not yet signed into law, Senate Bill 6346. Nothing on Governor Ferguson's calendar showing he'll sign it today. It is not on the list for two bill signings. The way it's kind of been going the last several business days of bill signings is he has one session in the morning where he signs, 10 to 20 bills and another one in the afternoon. It's not on the radar today. Although today, he is signing the rollback of the estate tax increase, which many say is basically a concession without verbalizing it that there's such a thing as wealth flight, capital flight, when people want to avoid, the wealthy want to avoid those kinds of taxes, like the income tax is about to implement. Uh, it is not, again, on the list for today. I keep checking every night, so we're going to be right on top of that. But GOP Chairman Jim Walsh today told me his speculation is, in fact, that Governor Bob Ferguson is delaying signing maybe up until the last minute, which would be April 4th, to lessen the amount of time that opponents would have for launching a potential initiative to repeal the income tax. Because until they know exactly what Ferguson signs, as there could be some sections that he vetoes, they can't really strategize, how that initiative is going to look. So here is Chairman Jim Walsh.
On Senate Bill 6346, that's the state income tax scheme, they put, of course, what they call a necessity clause on it. Not exactly the same as an emergency clause, but effectively the same. Uh, so that's kind of issue one. And you may see a lawsuit about that because it's pretty dodgy how they put that on there. And they is primarily state senators Peterson and Frame. They're kind of the tax gurus for the Democrats in Olympia. So they put this necessity clause on the state income tax bill, but the state income tax doesn't take effect until 2028. So why is there urgency on this if it doesn't take effect for a couple of years? So we could make the argument, try to get a court to strip that off. I don't know how strong that would be. But that necessity clause means a referendum is not possible, but an initiative is still possible. Referenda are easier. They require fewer signatures to qualify, and the timeline on a referendum is a little more favorable for quick action. Uh, on an initiative, the timeline is a little less favorable, and you need to get more signatures to qualify it. But we could still do an initiative. The necessity slash emergency clause doesn't affect an initiative. It only affects a referendum. So we could do an initiative to the people this year. We have until the first few days of July to collect the qualifying signatures. So it's a tight window, but it is doable. Um, we don't, one of the problems is the governor hasn't signed the bloody thing into law yet. So you can't really get an initiative repealing something going until you know exactly what the something is. And of course, because the governor in Washington state has what's called a section veto power. It's not a line item veto, but it is a section. The governor can veto a part of a bill and then sign the rest into law. Because the governor does retain that power, we can't be sure what the final form of the state income tax scheme would be.
So again, the wait on the governor's signature continues. Plenty of rumors out there about an initiative effort. Will that be launched this year? Will that be put off till 2027? We're in the know, and I'm talking with folks who are part of that decision making process. So stay tuned for updates. As soon as we know, you'll know.